Hello Fruit Guys Community Fund, welcome to the farm. This is Sarvodaya Farms, part of our nonprofit organization, The Growing Club. I'm Rishi. I am the co-founder along with my mom Manju, and I'm be happy to show you around the farm here and show you what the Fruit Guys Community Fund will be helping us do.
So it's a family business.
Yeah, it's part of we're a nonprofit organization, but it's me and my mom who are the primary, farmers and educators. And my mom's been gardening for, her whole life. My grandparents have always been gardening too. We're on a long, narrow plot. This is a half acre of land, and this plot that we're on actually is what used to be sold here in LA as a homestead plot. So this was the intended kind of use of these properties.
How'd you find it?
Luck. I knew a farmer. He lives in the next city over. His farm is in the next city over, and he had decided that he wanted to start a farm in Pomona because he had seen a lot of problems with crime and shootings here, and he wanted to do something good for the city. This is where his church is, in this city of Pomona, and he asked around at his church if anyone had land, and the previous owner of this property let him use this. On our farm, our whole focus is on community. So the primary program that we offer to the community is our farmer training program, and it is now a 28-week long training program where we're trying to teach people in the area how to grow food in a small farm setting. We're trying to get more people to have backyard gardens, to help with school gardens, maybe to start small farms like ours. So that's the primary focus of what we do. We also do a monthly potluck event here we call it Coffee, Compost, and Conversation. So people come in, we have coffee, we make compost piles, and then we have a different guided conversation every month. And the third thing that we do, which is more to encourage urban farming and on the kind of policy side of urban farming, is we collect a lot of data. So we track everything that we harvest here. We track our water usage every 2 days. We track everything that we plant, everything that we, all the feed we give to our chickens, how many eggs they laid. So we're trying to create this booklet of information so that when urban farm policy is coming up to be voted on in cities, that we can say, look, here is everything that we did in this year on this tiny little half-acre piece of land. We received a $5,000 grant from the Fruit Guys Community Fund, and that money is going towards creating our hedgerow habitat around all of our annual fields, all of our annual vegetable fields. So we have raised mounded beds that border the vegetable fields on 3 sides, and in those we're going to be planting 32 fruit trees, and underneath those fruit trees we're putting in over 200 California native plants. And the purpose of that is to increase the amount of pollinator and beneficial insect habitat that we have, because that's a good thing to do, and because those insects and animals and birds will help keep the pest pressure low within our vegetable fields. So we're always looking for those mutually beneficial integrations. And another portion of the money will be used to create a curriculum on native plants and native people, actually, for our farmer training program.
What's the most challenging part of your job?
The most challenging part of my job is managing all the complexity of everything. To be keeping track of all these different crops out here, the trees in our orchard, the chickens, the nursery, the trainees, the training program, the curriculum, the data. It can be very exhausting. But luckily we have a lot of people who are helping us, like you met Katie. There's also Lynn, who manages our compost. So we have a little team that's keeping it together. Most of our produce does go to the CSA program, but we're trying to allocate 10% on a weekly basis to be donated to food pantries that are local here. So we were connected with another nonprofit in the community that specifically does that like food pantry donations. So they pick up from us and then they distribute to different food pantries. So it's not like, you know, we're offering what we can. Farming is a difficult world and business to be in. So we're just doing the best that we can. Our farm is very ecologically focused. We like to use the term ecologically integrated. So we're always trying to think about what the impact of, you know, what we're growing will have on the ecosystem that we operate in. So we're always trying to build the soil up, make the soil healthier, to to soak water into the ground, to recharge our aquifers, to restore habitat for wildlife and birds and insects, and just create a functioning whole. So, you know, we're trying to just create an ecosystem that has as its byproduct food instead of just growing food. So throughout the farm, you'll see in the beds we usually don't have one crop planted. We have 2 or 3 crops planted in a bed. On the edges of all of our beds, we're creating our hedgerow, which is what FruitGuys is helping us with. So with that grant, we've already planted 32 fruit trees throughout the farm, and now we are going through and planting the California native plants underneath those. We also have little ponds. We have 7 different little ponds in the farm that are providing water for our bees.
Oh, cool.
And for other, you know, you'll see all sorts of different little insects and flies drinking water out of those. The other main part of our farming system is that we are a no-till farm. So this soil is never turned over.
Wow.
We never rip roots out from the ground. The roots are left to decompose. And we are just constantly adding compost and putting our plants in. So I try to think of it like we're just living off the fat, you know, and we're leaving everything else in place.
Yeah.
A lot of what we see and hear in the media about environmentalism is about reducing your environmental impact. You know, so drive a hybrid car or use a low water toilet or a low water washing machine. But we talk about how do we actually give back to the ecosystem. So how do we build the soil so that there's life in the soil? How do we put water back into the ground? How do we bring back our pollinators and bring back our birds and our, you know, the other animals that we live with? So it's more about restoration and regeneration and not about limiting our negative impacts.
Well, from an outside perspective, I was going to say, round of applause in your half-acre space. I'm like, this place is packed with life. It's really cool. How did you hear of the FruitGuys Community Fund?
I actually I heard of the FruitGuys Community Fund because I first met someone from FruitGuys at the California Small Farm Conference.
Oh, right on.
That was 6 years ago, I think, before we had this farm.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't know, I got on a mailing list or something, so I heard about the grant, and we'd been waiting to apply for 2 years, and
yeah, well, congratulations to be a part of the 2017 class. It's cool to see, you guys at this stage. It'll be fun to return in, a couple years, hopefully, and really see the impact that the project has had.
So if you want to follow along with our work, you can go to our website, thegrowingclub.com. There'll be a link there to go to the Sarvodaya Farms website. You can also follow us on Instagram. We're at The Growing Club, and on Facebook, The Growing Club. So check us out. We have lots of great photos. You can drool over our produce and come and join us for an event or join our CSA program.